have been to the library again, so I thought I would do another library haul. I have about 10 books because when you first get a library card at my public library, you're sort of on a probation period where you can only take out 10 books at a time, and then after that short probation period ends, I suddenly forgot how to speak English, you can take out up to 50. So soon I'll be able to take out more books at a time. Also, in other good news, my public library on January 2nd announced that you get unlimited free holds, like requests, which is great because you used to get 50 free holds and then you had to pay after that, and my closest branch of the library is quite small. It doesn't have all the books that I want, so I basically have to request everything, and now that I have an unlimited number of requests, it's gonna be a really good year for me. All of the books that I got are YA, actually. I'm just looking at the stack right here. So I'll start with the very first one, which is Three Dark Crowns by Kendra Blake, and I have actually read this already. It's not a super short book, but I did zip through it decently quickly, and I have some complex feelings about this book. I'm not entirely sure whether I like it or not. I think I gave it 2 or 3 stars on Goodreads, and I'm a fairly harsh and critical reviewer. I don't give out 4 and 5 stars very often, in fact hardly at all, and I just don't know. So I've requested One Dark Throne, I think. Yeah, One Dark Throne is the sequel. So I've requested that from the library, and I will read the next one and see if that helps me to kind of solidify my feelings on the book. Yeah, I'm really torn on this one. I genuinely don't know whether I like it or not. I have The Crown by Kira Cass, which is the final book of the 5 main books of the Selection series, and this is the second part of the sort of, I guess it's sort of more like a trilogy and then a duology, but they're all in the same world. So this is the second part of the duology that follows America's daughter through her own selection. If possible, I liked The Heir and the Crown less than I liked the Selection series. And I already didn't like the Selection series that much, but I did want to finish the book, so I have read this one already, and I wouldn't recommend reading the last 2 unless you absolutely loved the Selection series or they're just like your guilty pleasure fluffy reads, but I found the main character in this to be entirely unlikable, so that's a bit unfortunate. Next up is a very different book, and this is Tease by Amanda Maciel. I'm not quite sure if it's like pronounced like it's French or not, but this is YA contemporary, and wow, that's like very reflective. It is about a girl who is bullied at her high school and commits suicide, and that takes place before the book even starts. And then the book follows the aftermath of one of the girls who was bullying her and a court case involved. So it's inspired by the Phoebe Prince suicide in South Hadley in Massachusetts, and how the kids who bullied her at school were actually like taken to court and like charged with various things. So there's a group of kids in this that are charged, and it follows one of the 2 main girls who was bullying her at school, and she's like visiting a therapist and meeting with her lawyers and stuff. So I have quite high hopes for this. I've had it on my list for quite a while. I happen to think the cover is quite cool as well. So it says Tease in red script, and yeah, I'm really hoping this lives up to how good I think it's going to be. This is Going Rogue by Robin Benway, and it is the sequel of what I'm pretty sure is a duology to the Also Known As book. And this, I read the first one and I just really wanted to read the second one because the first one is kind of like one of my favorite guilty pleasure reads, and it's about a girl called Maggie who is a spy, and her parents and her are part of like an international like non-governmental spy organization, and I am a sucker for anything sort of like spy and like federal agent type related, especially like teenage spies or like young adult spies. Like Spy Kids was one of my favorite movies when I was younger, so I've always wanted to read the second one and never really gotten around to it, so I have high hopes that this will be a nice light fluffy read. I have been wanting to read Becky Albertalli's books, so I picked up Simon versus the Homo Sapiens Agenda because everyone seems to speak really, really positively about this book, and one thing I definitely don't do enough of is I read most of my books from the point of view of female characters. So that's primarily the point of view that I read from. And I want to read more from male point of views. So I'm assuming Simon is a boy. That's just a guess on my part. And yeah, it looks pretty short, so I think I might read this tonight. But I'm quite excited. And this is being made into a movie. Or it already has been made into a movie, or it's in the process of being made into a movie. And I quite like seeing book to film adaptations, but I need to read the book first, so that's why I have this one. So the last three are probably the ones I'm most excited about. So first up is My Lady Jane, which so exciting because it is, first of all, like pretty thick and pretty meaty, and it is basically historical fiction. So the book is based on the story of Lady Jane Grey, but it's historical fiction totally turned on its head, like twisted upside down and backwards, and you know, sort of down the rabbit hole and like all sorts of crazy stuff. And apparently there's like a talking horse, or her husband's a horse, or there's some sort of like horse magic thing going on. And I am so excited. And they're doing more of these. So it's written by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. It's written by 3 authors. And they have a second one coming out about Jane Eyre, and then a third one coming out, I think that's called like My Calamity Jane. So if this just turns into like crazy historical fiction and every book is about a different person in history called Jane, then like I am 100% here for this. Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, and this is a series that I have such high hopes for, like such high hopes for, and it's fulfilling my goal to read both more series this year and also more fantasy. And I just like, I so badly don't want to be let down by this book, so I'm almost thinking I might hold off and read it a little bit later because I just don't want to be disappointed. And from what I understand, it's sort of inspired by, or takes place in a setting that's inspired by Russia and like Russian folklore. I could be entirely wrong, but if that is true, that makes me even more excited because I love Russia. I'm studying Russian history right now. I think Russia is fascinating. I've always been fascinated with Russian history and Russian culture, so please be good, please be good, please be good. So the last book is A Study in Charlotte by Brittany Cavallaro, and I am so excited for this. It's basically a modern day Sherlock and Watson type thing, and Charlotte is the great-great-great-granddaughter of Sherlock Holmes, and then there's a boy whose last name is Watson, so I assume he is meant to be the great-great-great-grandson of Watson from the Sherlock Holmes stories, and they meet at a boarding school, I'm pretty sure, and then they get framed for murder, and that has like everything in it I am super excited about. It is the first book in a trilogy, and I am so excited. I love murder mysteries. I love books that are set at boarding school. I'm highly anticipating that if this is done well, this will be a 4 or 5 star book for me. And like, if it's as good as I think it's gonna be, I think this is the kind of book that will make it onto my 2018 like top books of the year video when I do that in 12 months. So fingers crossed. So that is it. Those are all the books that I got out from the library. I'm super excited with all of them. I will probably not be going to the library for like 2 or 3 weeks because I have quite a few books to work through now. I will catch you next week. Bye!